Shalom, my friend. God is not measuring your paycheck. He is watching your patterns. Your future does not answer your wishes. It answers your seeds. Think about that for a second. Somewhere in the world right now, there is someone earning almost the same as you who will be financially strong in 10 years. And there is someone else earning twice as much who will still end up empty, stressed, and broke. That gap is not luck. It is not talent. It is not secret connections. It is the seed they plant every day. We live in a time that keeps selling people a shiny lie. Dream bigger. Say the right words. Picture wealth in your mind. Chase giant goals. But there is one truth many people skip, and it changes everything. Life does not multiply what you only imagine. Life multiplies what you repeatedly plant. That means your money story is not changing because of the market, your boss, or the economy alone. It is changing because of the small habits you repeat when no one is looking. Most people plant confusion and pray for peace. They plant waste and ask for increase. They live by impulse and then wonder why their bank account looks unstable. Stay with me here, because this part matters. If you catch this, your whole relationship with money can begin to shift. It can move from fear to calm, from pressure to clarity, from wishing to building. And once you truly see it, you cannot unsee it. So do not click away, because the next few minutes may show you that the wealth you wanted was never only about more income. It was always about what you were doing with the life already in your hands. Let me show you with a simple picture. Imagine a man who receives a tiny piece of rough land from his father. The soil is rocky, the space looks weak, the people around him laugh. Experts tell him to sell it, move on, and chase something bigger. But he understands one thing they do not. The size of a harvest is not decided first by the size of the field. It is decided by the faithfulness of the planting. So every morning before the sun comes up, he goes out there, he pulls one weed, he plants one seed, he waters one small section. Nothing dramatic, nothing flashy, no applause, no instant proof, just one steady act after another. People call him obsessed. Some call him foolish. Family members tell him he is wasting time. But 5 years later, that little field begins to produce more fruit than places 10 times its size. Why? Because small actions, done again and again, do not merely add up, they compound. This is one of the deepest truths about money, and many people still miss it. They wait for the huge moment, the big break, the promotion, the perfect business idea, the lucky investment, the surprise check. But wealth is rarely a single event. Wealth is a harvest, and harvest does not care how badly you hoped. It does not care how often you said you wanted better. It answers what was planted. That is why some people stay stuck for years, even though they talk about success every day. They are waiting for a wave, while the future is waiting for a seed. And if you understand that one shift, you stop chasing magic and start building something real. Now hear this clearly. This is not about trying to impress God with rules. This is about learning the pattern built into life itself. Just like gravity works whether you respect it or ignore it, the law of seed and harvest works whether you feel ready for it or not. And this is why many people stay frustrated. Not because they do not know enough, but because they are not living what they already know. That truth can sting, but it can also set you free. We live in a world that confuses information with transformation. People read books about money, but never open their banking app with honesty. They listen to talks about wealth and then go back to the same reckless habits. They know quotes, they know theories, they know what successful people say. But knowing without doing is just noise dressed like progress. It feels productive, but it changes nothing. And that is why people keep waiting for motivation to arrive like a storm. They want the right mood, the right month, the perfect start. But seeds do not wait for perfect weather. They grow in the conditions they are given. So the real question is not, what do you know about money? The real question is, what are you repeating with money? Because your life will always move in the direction of your repeated actions, not your rare emotions, not your once-a-year promises, not your late-night guilt. Your habits are telling the truth about your future long before your results become visible. That may sound intense. It is, but it is also good news, because if habits built the problem, habits can help build the answer. Here is the first deep principle. Everything grows after its kind. You do not get the life you say you want. You get the life your habits fit. Sit with that. If you plant seeds that belong to one kind of tree, you should not be shocked when that exact tree grows. The same is true with your financial life. If you keep planting debt habits, rushed choices, emotional purchases, and zero structure, you should not expect a peaceful money future to rise from that ground. If you practice delay, avoidance, and impulse, you will harvest stress, pressure, and regret. Your current financial condition is not only a picture of your dreams, it is a picture of your daily decisions, repeated long enough to become normal. People often ask why their money does not match their vision, but when you look at the pattern, the answer is right there. They want overflow, but they think in fear. They want increase, but they do not manage what they already have. They say they want freedom, but they keep feeding habits that create chains. And the amazing part is this principle removes the mystery. It makes the path clearer. Want to know where your money may be in 5 years? Look at what you do every week. Look at what happens after you get paid. Look at what you do when you feel stressed. Look at what you do when nobody is checking on you. Your future is quietly being built by those moments. Not someday, not later, right now. If your actions do not match the life you keep asking for, the answer is not more wishing. The answer is better planting. There is another truth most people fight because it feels slow. Delayed harvest is not the same as denied harvest. Time is not always blocking your blessing. Sometimes time is preparing you to carry it. That changes everything. When a seed goes into the ground, there is always a hidden season before anything shows up above the surface. During that quiet time, roots are forming. Strength is building. Structure is being set. But because nothing can be seen, many people assume nothing is happening. That is where they quit. They start a good habit on Monday and expect a new life by Friday. They save a little money for a week and wonder why they do not feel rich. They cut one bad habit and expect instant peace. But the invisible season is not failure. It is formation. It is often protection. Imagine receiving a huge amount of money today with the same mindset, the same discipline, and the same weak systems you have right now. What would really happen? For many people, it would vanish fast. Not because they are cursed, but because they are unprepared. More money without more capacity only creates bigger mistakes. That is why growth sometimes comes slower than you want. The delay is shaping the person who can sustain the answer. And if you miss this, you will become impatient and destroy the very process meant to strengthen you. But if you understand it, you stop panicking during quiet seasons. You stop calling every slow season a dead season. You realize that hidden growth is still growth. And when the harvest comes, it often comes into hands that are finally strong enough to hold it, protect it, and multiply it with wisdom. Now let's make this practical. Big emotional breakthroughs get attention, but small, consistent actions build real wealth every single time. We live in a culture addicted to dramatic change, fast results, overnight success, instant wins. People want the plan that changes everything in 1 month, the one idea that doubles their money, the shortcut that erases years of bad habits. But lasting increase is usually built by simple actions repeated with discipline. There is an old story about a wise leader who saw hard years coming. During years of plenty, he did not throw parties and waste everything, because the season felt good. He built a system. He saved a fixed part consistently, not only when he felt serious, not only when fear showed up, not only when the news turned dark. He saved during the good season because he understood what many people ignore. Structure turns wisdom into survival and survival into strength. When the lean season arrived, that system carried the people through. Not hype, not emotion, not luck, a system. That is the power of small, repeated action. If you applied that truth to your life, your next 7 years could look nothing like your last 7. Not because of one giant move, but because of hundreds of small, faithful choices. Save a little every time. Review your money every week. Cut the leaks one by one. Learn steadily. Build slowly. It may look boring from the outside. Good, boring is underrated. Boring is often where peace is built. And if this feels too simple, do not miss the point. Simple does not mean weak. Simple, repeated with discipline, becomes powerful enough to change a life. This is where many people get trapped. They confuse motivation with discipline. Motivation is a feeling. Discipline is a decision. Feelings rise and fall. Decisions can stay. So if your financial life depends only on how inspired you feel, your progress will always be fragile. The people who truly build strong lives are not the ones who feel excited every day. They are the ones who keep doing the quiet work when excitement leaves the room. They track expenses when it is dull. They save when spending would feel more fun. They learn when scrolling would feel easier. They stay steady when others keep changing direction every time their mood changes. That is why their lives become stable while others live in repeat crisis. Let me be blunt for a second. Some people do not have a money problem first. They have a discipline problem that keeps showing up in money form. They start a budget like it is a challenge, then drop it after 2 weeks, because the novelty is gone. They say they want more income, but they never sharpen their skills, never improve their routines, never prepare for bigger responsibility. They ask for open doors while refusing to become ready to walk through them. Others chase emotional highs. They earn, then spend fast because holding money feels less exciting than using it. They keep creating drama because peace feels too quiet. But peace is not boring when it comes to money. Peace is power. Peace means your life is no longer being driven by every impulse. And if you can build that kind of inner steadiness, your outer results begin to change in ways that look slow at first and then suddenly look strong. Keep watching, because this next part is where the message becomes action. Here are simple ways to begin, and none of them require a miracle. First, track one area of spending for the next 7 days. Only one. Keep it small. Maybe it is snacks, maybe transport, maybe online shopping, maybe coffee. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness. You cannot lead what you refuse to look at. Second, save a tiny fixed amount every day. Even $1 matters, not because $1 changes your life overnight, but because the act changes your identity over time. It teaches your mind that future you deserves a vote. Third, stop one money leak today. Cancel the unused subscription. Stop the stress purchase. Cut the habit that keeps draining you in silence. Fourth, build a pause between desire and spending. When you want to make an unplanned purchase, wait 24 hours. Ask one clear question. Will this move me closer to the life I keep talking about, or further away from it? That simple pause can save you from dozens of expensive emotions. Fifth, give something every week, even if it is small. Giving pushes back against fear. It reminds your heart that you are not trapped in pure lack. Sixth, take 15 minutes each week and review your money. No shame, no drama, just truth. What came in, what went out, what pattern keeps repeating. Seventh, do one small action each day that matches the life you want to build. Read for 10 minutes, learn a money skill, listen to something useful, organize your financial notes, become the kind of person who can carry more. These are not glamorous moves, I know, but they work. And sometimes the least glamorous habits create the strongest future. If this is landing, stay with me, because one more shift could change how you see every small action from this day forward. Some people will hear all this and still say, those steps are too small. But that is exactly the thinking that keeps people stuck. If someone cannot stay faithful with $5, more zeros will not magically fix the heart behind the habit. Others will say they do not have time. But most of the time, that is not true either. People do have time. What they often do not have is alignment. They can scroll for an hour, they can watch 3 episodes, they can spend whole evenings distracted, but 5 minutes to check spending feels too much. Then the issue is not time, it is value, it is honesty, it is what matters enough to get protected in your schedule. Some say they will build better habits after they make more money, but that is backwards. Better habits are often what prepare you to handle more money well. Increase rarely solves disorder. It usually exposes it. And yes, some of you have tried before and failed. You made a plan. You broke it. You started strong. You stopped. But listen carefully. Failing before does not prove you cannot change. It proves you have data now. It proves you know where you tend to slip. So start smaller this time. Not with pressure, with precision. Do not try to rebuild your entire financial life in one emotional night. That kind of revolution usually creates resistance. Slow change that lasts is often stronger than intense change that fades. Pick one habit. Stay with it for 30 days. Let it become normal. Then add the next one. This is how real transformation grows. Not in one loud moment. In repeated quiet moments that begin to shape your identity from the inside out. And something powerful begins to happen when you live this way. Wealth stops feeling random. It becomes more predictable. You stop waiting for rescue and start building systems. You stop thinking of prosperity as a lucky break and start seeing it as the result of repeated alignment. Then opportunities start showing up differently, not because the universe suddenly became kind, but because your preparation finally has somewhere to meet provision. When your structure changes, your response to opportunity changes too. You become ready faster, you notice more, you waste less. Your identity, your habits, and your goals stop fighting each other. That inner conflict begins to fade. You no longer say one thing and live another. Your routines begin to sound like your prayers. Your actions start to match your desire. And with that comes peace, real peace, the kind that lets you sleep because your money life is no longer built on panic and reaction. You know what you are doing. You know where it is going. You trust the process because the process has proven itself. Then generosity becomes lighter. It feels natural, not forced. When you are no longer living from pure fear, giving no longer feels like death. It feels like flow, and money itself changes place in your life. It becomes a tool, not a ruler, a servant, not a master. You stop feeling owned by every bill, every craving, every trend, every emotional wave. That is the kind of life available to you, not only years from now. It begins with the next decision, the next moment, the next act of honesty, the next small seed. This is where change gets real. Not when you feel different first, but when you choose different first. So here is the challenge. For the next 7 days, do just one of these actions, only one. Do not try to grab all 7. Do not turn this into another intense moment that burns bright and dies fast. Choose one seed and plant it daily for 1 week. Let that small win build confidence. Let consistency teach you what motivation never could, because every strong life started small. Every giant tree began as something tiny and easy to ignore. Every harvest once looked invisible. Your change does not require you to become a completely different person overnight. It requires you to become more honest, more steady, and more faithful with what you already know. Right now, the law of seed and harvest is already working in your life. It is not waiting for your permission. The only question is this: what are you planting? Because what you plant today will speak tomorrow, and if you keep sowing fear, impulse, delay, and avoidance, those seeds will answer back. But if you begin planting clarity, discipline, patience, generosity, and structure, those seeds will answer too. Maybe not in one day, maybe not in one dramatic week, but they will answer. They always do. So do not underestimate this moment. Do not call small things meaningless. Do not despise quiet growth. Some of the greatest change in your life will begin in places nobody notices. A cancelled habit, a saved dollar, a delayed purchase, a weekly review, a calmer mind, a stronger spirit. And one day you will look back and realize the life you prayed for did not arrive through noise. It arrived through seeds, through repetition, through humble acts that kept growing long after the emotion faded. Shalom, my friend. Remember this and carry it with you. God is not only looking at what you say you want, He is watching what you practice. Your future is not moved by desire alone. It is moved by what you build into your days. That is why waiting for the perfect moment is so dangerous. Perfect conditions rarely come. The ground you have today is the ground you can plant in. The time you have now is the time you can use. Start there. Start small. Start honestly. When you feel the pull to delay, plant anyway. When you feel the fear of slow progress, plant anyway. When no one claps, when no one notices, when the result is still hidden underground, plant anyway. That is how lives change. That is how peace grows. That is how wealth is built from the inside out. And if this message hit you at the right time, do not let it become another thought that fades by tonight. Hold it, use it, return to it when you are tempted to drift. Your soul carries the design. Your daily choices are the construction. Brick by brick, seed by seed, habit by habit. You do not need a louder dream first. You need a truer pattern. You do not need to chase every big promise you hear. You need to guard what you repeat. Because in the end, your life will not be shaped most by what impressed you for a moment. It will be shaped by what you did again and again. So take the next right step. Protect it, repeat it, let it grow. And trust this. The seed may look small in your hand, but it never stays small in the field.